Welcome to Karen D TV. And today we are going to tackle the C word, confidence. We're going to talk about how you can increase your confidence and just shut up that inner critic that we all have. So let's start with this. Let's talk about confidence itself. Here's what I want to share with you. Confidence is not an emotion, it's a behavior. So you can choose to act confidently whenever you want. And I talk about this a lot in one of my previous videos called How to Increase Your Confidence. And I'll leave the link below so you can go back and really get the lowdown on what confidence really is, because that's the starting point. But know that the first thing you do have to realize is that confidence is a behavior and you can choose to act confidently. Now, number two, let's talk about the inner critic. First of all, if you don't think you have an inner critic, you're wrong. It's usually, or it's probably the little voice that just said to you, what inner critic is Karen talking about? My friends, that is the inner critic that we all have. And quite often the purpose of our inner critic, and it's just that little voice that you hear. It doesn't speak verbally, but we hear it in our head. And usually it's telling us to stop, don't do that, you're not enough. No, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna get harmed. And it's usually a protective factor, but it protects us so much that often it stops too many people from actually taking the actions they need to, taking a little bit of risk so they can grow, so they can reach their goals, so they can strive bigger. So the first thing you need to do with your inner critic is, number one, realize that you have an inner critic. That's the most important thing. Number two, when it comes to your inner critic, you want to ensure that you know what it's saying. Usually our inner critic says the exact same thing time and time and time again, no matter the situation. And it's usually things like, you're not enough, who do you think you are, you're not smart enough, you don't have the right education, you don't have the experience, you're not pretty enough, you're not small enough, you don't live in the right place. Write down what your inner critic is saying to you, first of all, so you can actually see it. And once you see it on a piece of paper, I want you to read it out loud. And it might sound elementary, my friends, but I want you to do it because it works. So you're going to write down what your inner critic is saying to you, what you're saying to you essentially, and I want you to read it out loud. And take a moment and realize these words on the piece of paper is what has stopped you from achieving your goals. These words on the piece of paper have stopped you from connecting better with people. These words on a piece of paper have stopped your growth overall. And after you've read it and you really realize that this is it, it's no one else in the world, it's not anyone else's fault, it's your inner critic that's been holding you back. It's you. It belongs to you. Then I want you to say enough. And then I want you to get another piece of paper and write some supportive statements on it. Because here's the thing, we have to start replacing what our inner critic used to say with what we want it to say. So what are the supportive words that you would say to yourself, or do you need to say to yourself? And sometimes that's kind of tough. So here's another question. What are the supportive words you would say to a young child if they said, you know what, I think I'm ugly, I'm not enough, I can't do it, I'm dumb, and I'm not smart? What would you say to them? That's what I want you to think of. Write those words there, and exactly what you'd say to them is what you need to be saying to yourself. So once you've written that down, realize it's true for you as well. And every time your inner critic comes up with, you're not enough, you're not smart enough, you don't have enough experience, you want to flip it and use those positive statements you've created for yourself. You see, that's where it starts. That's where it ends. It's no one else's fault. Your self-confidence doesn't have to do with anyone else. Although, let's be real, we've all been through some crap. Some of us have had great childhoods. Some of us have had really crappy childhoods. That doesn't matter unless we allow it to matter. The question is, what are the choices you're taking now to get you to where you want to be? And it starts with you acting confidently. And it also starts with you saying things that are positive, that gives you what you need so you can act confidently. All right, so use those tools to, number one, increase your confidence. Remember, it's a behavior. And number two, you want to shut up that inner critic by choosing what your inner critic says to you. So realize this, my friends, you are born enough. And you are born amazing. So don't allow anyone to say or take that away from you. All right, so now you have the tools. Now the ball is in your court, and I want you to use it. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And there's a lot of free resources that I have as my gift to you. Just check down in the description area.